what else can you do to prevent the next Epstein, Diddy,
We have to. Okay, so Epstein justice has two objectives. We want the government to tell us why it's aiding and abetting child trafficking, and we want the perpetrators to be prosecuted. Very simple, baseline morality. But we need the first question: why are you covering up child trafficking? We have to know that. As Americans, we need to know why our government is covering up child trafficking. And until we have that answer, and we can stop the mechanisms that are involved in it, then it's going to continue. And we have to stop it. It happened with the Franklin scandal. It's happening with Epstein. I've been approached by many people over the years that talk about other networks that are active. And Epstein was really ominous. There was a lawsuit from the Virgin Islands against Epstein's estate. And the Virgin Islands ultimately got $105 million. And then they'll get half the sale of Little St. James. And there was a very good Melbourne daily that reported that Epstein was trafficking girls that were as young as 11 or 12 in the Virgin Islands. And I know a couple of therapists. One's a very eminent psychologist. And both believe that they have represented girls that were molested by Jeffrey Epstein when they were under the age of 10, or by Epstein at all, under the age of 10. And
wait, under the age of 10?
10, yes.
This is Epstein?
Epstein, yes. And I think that that's one of the ways in which, the media hasn't called for justice at all. And I think if there was a real investigation, these guys are psychopaths. I mean, these guys are psychopaths. If you want a 10-year-old, they'll get you a 10-year-old. But anyway, both these therapists who are one of them is very eminent, tried to get settlements from the Epstein Victims Compensation Program. And they were denied, and both of them feel, because the cover story that the media has embraced is that the youngest Epstein victim was 14 years old. So although we have evidence of Epstein trafficking girls younger than that, according to the Melbourne Daily, The Age. And then we have these two therapists who are very, very solid therapists saying that they have clients that they believe were trafficked under the age of 10. So the media has done everything it possibly can to sanitize Jeffrey Epstein. I'm not aware of a media outlet that has said, hey, we need justice here. Have you ever seen an article from mainstream media that said we need justice here? I mean, they're very good at digging up salacious dirt, but no one said we need justice here. I haven't seen it. I've read a lot of Epstein articles. I haven't seen it.
I saw a story about it. One time 12-year-old triplets were flown to Epstein for his birthday. Is that true?
They were bought in Eastern Europe. Yeah.
12-year-old triplets.
Yeah.
I mean, who brought him in is the question.
According to Virginia Giuffre, Epstein and Brunel had some kind of connection in the government where they could get these girls visas, which wouldn't surprise me given everything that they got away with for all those years.
Yeah, this is the one that Vice reported on unsealed documents from 2015 civil action by Giuffre, which included her deposition recounting this claim. Additional investigative reporting, such as the Mindsite News, corroborated the details, noting that court documents record that details from the investigation include allegation of 12-year-old triplets were flown in from France for Epstein's birthday and flown back the following day after being sexually abused.
Virginia describes an orgy in which there were 12-year-olds there. So, yes. And we've got the Melbourne newspaper, daily newspaper, saying 11 and 12. And then we've got these therapists saying under 10. So if the media really want, why am I able to get this information? And the media, the mainstream media, with its seemingly infinite resources, cannot get this information. What is up with that?
Yeah, wasn't there a movie with what's his name, Liam Neeson and Maggie Grace called Taken?
Yes,
where she gets taken and goes to a sex trafficking place where she's on the. He finally finds him on. The girls are coming out dancing and he's behind the glass and they're watching and they're bidding 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand. So, that movie. And then at the end of the movie, I think he goes up and kills the person, whatever it is. So it's not like this stuff doesn't exist and it doesn't happen. This has been going around for a long time. The question is, what is the crime? Who is a comparable person like an Epstein or a Diddy or a Craig Spence that was caught? What is the worst punishment that a country that is a westernized country that's given to people like that we can go back and see a pattern there? Who have we punished for somebody that did this? Say somebody else ran something like this. Is there another Epstein or a Diddy that did this, that got the death penalty, that went to jail for God knows how many years? Do those stories exist? Case studies exist?
Okay, the FBI, when the Department of Justice was going to engage, what happened was there was a 14-year-old girl who told her stepmother that she'd been molested by Jeffrey Epstein. And her mother brought her to the Palm Beach Police Department, and she was from a lower socioeconomic part of Palm Beach, if there is such a thing in Palm Beach. But anyway, she was from a lower socioeconomic part of Palm Beach, and she was able to describe the interior of his home and also his anatomy, and that's what started their investigation. And by the time, and now there's numbers that are conflicting here. They had the statements of 5 victims, but then there were 17 corroborating statements. And from what I understand, this number has fluctuated, but they knew of at least 17 victims. And they were ready to indict Jeffrey Epstein on 4 unlawful counts of sexual activity with a minor and 1 count of lewd and lascivious molestation, which would have put him in jail for a very long time. And then it was given to this grand jury and the special prosecutor was Lana Bell Lovick, and she called 2 of the victims. She could have called many more, but she called 2. And one was 16 years old, and she'd been molested by Epstein when she was 14. And one was 18. She'd been molested by Jeffrey Epstein multiple times when she was 16. And she was calling one of the girls a prostitute. I mean, she skewered these girls.
Wow.
Skewered them.
Wow.
And, I mean, the transcripts, DeSantis has released the transcripts, so the transcripts are out there. And that's the grand jury that said Jeffrey Epstein hadn't molested a single child. So Michael Ryder, he is a hero in this. He was the chief of the Palm Beach Police Department. He said this is the worst failure, I'm going to paraphrase it, the worst failure in modern judicial history. And he went to the Department of Justice. He said, you have to do something about this. Now, the Department of Justice had a list of 34 Epstein victims. I've got that list, but then it knew of 40 more, but yet it covered it all up. So that's where we need to start, is the Department of Justice and why it had 30 or 40 victims, underage victims of Jeffrey Epstein's, and why didn't it do anything? Why was nothing adjudicated other than Jeffrey Epstein getting 18 months in county jail and serving 13?
Yeah. So I just asked the question: who was the most notorious case similar to Jeffrey Epstein that got the death penalty or went to jail for life? Right. First one that comes up is Lawrence King, which we talked about earlier, the Franklin cover-up, the scandal. And he was accused of running child trafficking rings involving politicians and elites, convicted for fraud, but never convicted of the abuse, not life or death, not a perfect pair, nothing, right? So then there's Marc Dutroux from Belgium.
From Belgium, yeah.
Marc Dutroux from Belgium, wealthy contractor, serial child abuser, kidnapped, imprisoned, and sexually abused multiple girls, 2 died of starvation in his hidden dungeon. That's the guy right there, okay? That's 1990s. He had alleged ties to elite sex networks. Many Belgians believed there was a cover-up protecting higher-ups. He was sentenced to life in prison.
What's interesting about that is actually there were law enforcement people that came forward and said there was a cover-up. And there's footage of, I think, around 200,000 Belgians hitting the streets. They're all dressed in white, and they're protesting the cover-up that happened.
Can you pull that up of the protesting about Marc Dutroux protests? Protests, white. There's a video of that. Yeah, if you pull it up, you should be able to see it.
I see a picture of you.
I typed in Marc Dutroux.
Belgium White March.
No, it's a bigger one than this. If you go on Google, you'll see the picture. It's massive. It's not small.
Huge. Yeah, it's huge.
It's massive. It's not a small thing that happened. So, this is the 25-year anniversary. There it is.
There it is.
Right, there it is. So that's a legit march of people saying, hey,
that's more than a legit march.
What I'm saying is, I mean, if it needs to get to that to get the attention of what happened here, maybe that's a good case study. All I'm trying to do is get case studies.
Okay, so that's what we need. I mean, if the Belgians are willing to hit the streets to protest pedophile network being covered up, Americans have to. Yeah. Don't you think that Americans need to do that?
If this, to
me,
me,
would you be willing to do that?
To me, if this is, everybody has their own issues. When the Trump administration put up what their 20 issues were in 47 campaign, 2024, this wasn't necessarily a top 20 issue for them, the Epstein. But it was for a lot of people that supported, that drove for this to become a reality. A lot of people were pushing for this. And I do think, as somebody who's got a family, I think people want to know what the hell happened here. I definitely do, or else I wouldn't be doing all these interviews. Why am I talking to you? Why am I talking to Michael Wolff? Why am I talking to Whitney Webb multiple times? Why are we talking to these? We shouldn't be doing it because it's more constant stories of it coming up, but we're interested in it. Let me give you another one here.
We have to keep it alive. I mean, it's happened in Portugal. It's happened in France. It's happened in, I mean, there are multiple, and it happened in Mexico. There are multiple cases.
There needs to be a real punishment.
Hi, I'm Nick Bryant, and if you want to connect with me on Connect. You can ask me about Epstein justice and also all things Epstein.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.